We're now going to speak to analyst Osama Nazzal, who's joining us live from Jenin in the occupied West Bank as well. And coming to you off the back of this news, we're still showing our viewers this live pictures of what happened in occupied East Jerusalem this evening. Give us your reaction to this event.
Yeah, thank you for having me first. The violence begets violence, and oppression gets such actions without any doubt. I think what happened yesterday in the city of Jenin and its refugee camp was a real massacre by the current extremist Israeli occupation government against the Palestinians. An old 60-year-old woman was killed in Jenin refugee camp, in addition to two brothers, and their third brother is now in hospital in a very serious condition. So we are talking about a hysterical, murderous campaign by the Israeli occupation government against all the people of Palestine. Since the start of this year, 30 Palestinians were killed. Just last year, more than 227 Palestinians were killed. Apart from that, the everyday confiscation of the Palestinians' land and the building of the Israeli settlements on the Palestinian farmers' land, in addition to the appropriation of all the Palestinian water and agricultural resources. All these measures by the Israeli occupation government block any opportunity for peace and calm, and the result is what we are seeing now: violence and counter-violence, action and reaction. I think what we see now confirms the fact that violence and killing of Palestinians and confiscation of their land is not the solution. The theory of Smotrich and Ben Gvir and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, is a big failure. It is not the recipe for existence. It's not the recipe for prosperity and peace. I think it is now the responsibility of all the relevant parties, the United Nations, the Arab governments, the West, all the world, is to work hard now and press Israel to stop its crimes and its pogroms against the Palestinian people, and to start the process of ending its military occupation of the Palestinian land in order to enable all peoples, Palestinians and Israelis, to live in peace and work for prosperity and development instead of spending time and resources on violence and wars.
That type of solution you're describing there, getting everyone around the table, international input as well, unfortunately will take some time. In the short term, we're seeing, as you've put it there, violence on violence, attacks on both sides every day at the moment, escalation. In the short term, if I can ask you this, Osama, in the short term, is there anything that could be done to reduce this escalation?
From the Palestinian side, everything is clear. All that we want is to have international protection for our people against the Israeli military violence against children and women, and also protection against the violence practiced by the Israeli settlers who live in the occupied Palestinian territory on the land confiscated from the Palestinian people. The degree of violence that the Palestinians are going through today because of the military aggression and because of the settlers' aggression that is packed up by the Israeli government in Tel Aviv is unbelievable. So the international community, the Security Council that has a closed meeting, I think, tonight in order to discuss the situation in the occupied Palestinian territory, is to provide the protection for the Palestinian people. You know that the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian people, the PLO, offered everything possible in order to have peace. All that the Palestinians called for is a 22% of all Palestine to have their state on side by side with Israel. But the Israeli response was really horrible. More killing, more land confiscation, and you heard about the agreement signed between Smotrich, Ben Gvir, and Benjamin Netanyahu to form the current government. These agreements provide for redefining the occupied Palestinian territory and not to call it occupied West Bank, but to call it Judah and Samaria, which means that it is the land of Israel and the Palestinians have no right to it at all. So from the Palestinian side, everything is obvious. We are committed 100% to the international, to the United Nations resolutions that call for ending the Israeli occupation and establishing the Palestinian state on the land occupied in 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital, and everything would be okay. The Palestinians are not calling for anything more than that. But Israel is delivering nothing at all. Every night, they carry out military incursions into all the Palestinian cities, even into the hub of the Palestinian government, Ramallah. And yesterday, they carried out raids against the besieged Gaza Strip, Gaza, which has been under the Israeli siege since 2006. So the people are suffering restrictions on their movement, no employment, economic collapse, and the occupation is being entrenched every second and every minute. Against this backdrop, I think the Palestinians have no other option but to defend themselves. The Palestinians are not lifeless in the end, and they don't accept to see their children and women dying in their bedrooms by the Israeli occupation forces' fire bullets and doing nothing.
Osama Nazzal, thank you very much for bringing us your analysis.